Okay, good morning, everybody. Can I please have you guys turn on your cameras? We're gonna begin. Okay, guys. So I will be doing today's session because Mrs. Katsim does not have electricity today. Um, and I know that some students might not be joining because of the same reason. So I'm going to be teaching today's class. Okay. Yesterday, I did have an extra session with some students that managed to join, and we managed to do the activity one, section one. So, if you guys would like to take a look at that, then the recording is in Google Classroom already. All right. So, the unit that you guys have been working with Ms. Kasim is entitled Investigating God's and Man's Mandate. And basically, what you guys are supposed to have been learning is that there are rules in math. Just like how God has rules, there are many rules in math. And this week, you are looking at three different types of rules. You are looking at set notation and the three different ways a set can be named, and you can describe a set and you can talk about a set. So, what we want to talk about today is basically just a revision of what the set notation is. And to see if we have some time, then we can go ahead and do activity two that is posted in Google Classroom. So, today is October 14th. You guys were talking about set notation, the different types of set notation, and then we want to use set notation to describe one set. So, if I give you a set, you can give me the set notation in the three different forms. So today's lesson is about set notation, and basically what is set notation? It is a representation, a way of representing a set. If the set is given to you as a diagram, and then you have the Venn diagram and you have the two circles and the numbers are in there, um, then you can take that picture and you can write a set in three different ways. You have the semantic form, the raster form, and the set builder form. So I'm going to just do a quick revision of what these three are, and then we're going to go ahead and do activity two. So now the descriptive form or the semantic form, these names are given to the same thing. When you hear semantic or descriptive, it is describing. I want to write something in words, right? So when I see semantic, and I give you guys a set, I give you guys a list of elements. What you have to give back is a sentence or a phrase that describes that tells me what the set is about. All right. So, for example, what are ways of doing this? When you have the set of vowels in the English alphabet, I am describing something. The set of all odd positive integers less than or equal to 15. That is describing in words. And the set of all positive cube numbers less than 100. That is me describing a set of numbers in words. So semantic talks about a sentence or a phrase that describes it. When you talk about set builder notation now, set builder notation out of the three forms might be the most difficult for some to work with because it does use mathematical symbols in most cases. So, for example, if you take a look at the first example, you have the element X, such as X is a vowel in the English alphabet, and that is how you read that X colon X. The element X, such as X, is a vowel in the English alphabet. Now, the first X, we have to put the first X because that first X represents everything in the set. So I put that X. I could use any other letter that I want. If I wanted to use A, I could have put A. If I wanted to use T, I could have put the T. But because we're doing math, and in most cases, math uses the letter X to represent something that we don't know, then we use X in most cases. But that does not mean you cannot use another letter. So the first X represents the elements. So that's why when I read it, I say the element X. The two little dots, the colon, or you can put a bar, a line, because I know that Mrs. Katsim showed you guys with the bar. Either one is correct. You could use whichever one you want. The colon or the bar, both of them mean the same thing. And when we read the colon or we read the bar, we say such as. That is the correct way of reading that math symbol. The element X, such as X, and we put the X again because now we're going to describe what is inside of this set. And then when I write this beginning, so this beginning is the same thing that I'm always going to have when I'm writing something in set builder notation. I'm not going to be changing that. This beginning is always going to be there. Always, when they give you guys set builder notation, automatically you know this is what it's going to start with. And only the other half is going to be different in each of my questions. So what you write afterwards is the description. What does this set have? So for example, the first one, the element X such that X is a vowel in the English alphabet. The element X such that X is an odd number and X is in between 0 and 15. The element X such that X is a cube number and X is also less than 100. Different ways of reading the same thing. Now, when we talk about raster form is something that you guys, as soon as you see it, okay, this is raster form. You can identify what it is easily. Raster form is having the name of the set, the curly brackets, and the elements separated by commas. Your elements have to be separated by commas, or it's no longer going to be different elements, but they're gonna say, okay, if I have AEIOU but they're all together and there is no comma in between them, then when somebody sees this set, they're gonna say, okay, there's only one thing inside of this set. The commas make a big difference in telling you how many elements there are in that set, right? So if we look at these three examples, you have the three sets of raster. All of them are showing raster form because I just have the curly brackets and I have the elements inside of each one. And when you put them together, this is what you are expected to do. You are given a set and you can write descriptive form, set builder form, and raster form based on that one same set, right? And then basically, this is what you guys have been doing this week, right? And what Miss Kasim has been talking about and teaching you guys this week. Anybody has any questions? No
No, miss.
questions, guys?
No, miss.
Okay,
No,
cool.
miss.
Okay, so let's see. Like I said yesterday, I did activity one, but we did part one. If you guys are wondering about part two asks you guys, and let me go back to the instructions. It says students will create a set of 5 elements of adjectives describing God in roster form. Students will then write the descriptive notation for the name set. So, what am I expecting you guys to submit for this part? In the set that has roster form, you guys have to make a set and you can give the set whatever letter name you want, the curly brackets, and then you're gonna put 5 words that are adjectives that you think are suitable words that describe God. And then that will be what you would be writing in the roster part. And I put it in the chat, an example. I'm not going to give you guys adjectives because you're going to copy the adjectives. But an adjective, an example would be if you think that God is loving, that is an adjective that describes God. And you put 5 words that describe God for you. And then that will be what you would put in the first row. In the second row, where it says descriptive form, you're gonna write a sentence that describes what you guys put in the first one. So the instructions basically gives you the answer for this second part. The instruction says write 5 adjectives that describe God. So your descriptive form is gonna say set G, because I use the letter G. If you use a different letter, you write that letter. You will write set G is the set of adjectives that describe God. And that could be an example of how you can write it there. You can write it in many different other forms saying the same exact thing. But this is what I'm expecting you guys to do for this part. All right. Now let's go ahead and work with activity 2. All right. So let me move to the Jamboard. Okay. Can you guys see the Jamboard?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Yes, miss.
Okay. So I expect you guys to have your notebooks or some kind of writing paper so you guys can go ahead and write while we're doing this. Set now. Learning activity 2 has 10 questions. It has 5 in the first section and it has 5 in the second section. Each one is worth 3 points. So in total, you should have 30 points, right? So the first section asks you guys to write in set builder form. Set builder form. One second, let me join from my device. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Now, if you take a look at this set, A has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first thing that we always do when we're talking about set builder notation is that I want to write use something thicker than that. The name of the set. We always start with the name, and it has to be the same name that the question is giving you. I'm going to include the curly brackets. I'm going to have X, my colon, and then X again. Always the same beginning, right? If you don't want to use the colon, then you can use the bar, whichever one is correct, right? Now, what I want to find out is what kind of numbers are being given in this set?
natural number, miss.
Natural numbers. Very good. If we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are natural numbers. So what I'm going to write now is that X, everything in this set is a natural number. And I can write that in words or I can write it in symbol. So I am going to use symbol. I'm going to use the symbol for element. And then I'm going to write a capital N to show that they are natural numbers. Yes? But I can't leave it like that. I have to be more specific. Because if I just say, okay, X is a natural number, does that mean that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all the natural numbers that exist? No, right? So we have to be a little bit more specific. Which natural numbers are given in this set?
Less than 7.
Less than 7. Very good. I could write that. X is less than 7. Is that correct? Now, is it specific enough?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
But this is only one way of writing it. I could write this in another way, right? I could use the same beginning. Yes, the E that I have there, this E represents element. So when I write X, E, and then capital N, I'm saying that X is an element of the natural number set. X is also a natural number. I could write it in another form, and I could say that X is the natural numbers in between 0 and 7. And I think I saw Ryan put it in the chat. That is another way. There is another way that I can write this. And I can say that sorry, that X is less than or equal to 6. And I'm still talking about less than or equal to 6. So any of these three, any one of them are correct because we're talking about the same thing. All right. Anybody has any questions with this one? Did everybody understand?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
miss.
So can I move on
Yes, ma'am.
to the second question? Yes. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now question number 2. Question number 2 has fractions. But that doesn't mean that because it has fractions we can't do it. So take a look at what they're giving you. And if you take a look at the ellipses, the little dots at the end, those dots mean that this continues and never ends. So we have to make a set builder notation that is going to show that. That is going to show that this is going to continue and continue and continue and it's not going to stop. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to write our beginning. Our beginning. All right? Beginning does not change. Remember that it does not change. Now, if we look at this set, we have 1. We have 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, 1 over 5. Do you know what follows after that?
1 over 6.
1
1
over
over 6.
6, then 1 over 7, then 1 over 8, then 1 over 9. So what I'm going to be writing, and I'm going to write it like this. X is equal to 1 over a number. And let me explain this. I put that X is equal to 1 over a number because the one at the top does not change. Let's look at the first one in the set. It says 1. But if we think about what is 1 as a fraction, who can tell me what 1 is as a fraction?
Whole number.
Yes, it's a whole number, but if I give you guys just a big 1 and I tell you, give me this big 1 as a fraction, what would you tell me?
1 over 1.
1 over 1. Very good. So now, instead of writing that big 1 at the front, I could have 1 over 1, then 1 over 2, then 1 over 3, then 1 over 4, then 1 over 5, 1 over 6, 1 over 7, never ending. So that's why I am writing that X is equal to 1 over a number, because everything in this set is going to be 1 over some number. It could be 1 over 100, 1 over 256, whatever number, but it's going to be 1 over a number. But that is not everything. What kind of numbers go at the bottom? If we are looking at this n right here, what kind of numbers are these?
Natural number.
Natural numbers. Very good. So now what I'm going to write here is I'm going to write n now to represent what I'm writing here. And I'm going to say that n is an element of a natural number. And then that's what I'm going to have. Yes?
Yes, miss.
Was that clear to everyone? Do I need to explain again? Did you understand the mathematical symbols?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay,
yes,
great.
miss.
Let's move on. Everybody finish writing? Can I move on?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
Yes.
Okay. Number four. Not number four, number three, sorry. Number three. Now, take a look at this question. X is equal such that the element x, such as x is equal to 2n, where n is a natural number and n is less than and equal to 5. That is what that says. How am I going to write this in set builder notation? It's a trick question, by the way. Take a look at it. How am I going to write this in set builder notation? Anybody?
The same.
What did you say, Pascual? I didn't hear you clearly.
You will write the same thing.
The beginning doesn't change, miss.
Okay, okay, wait. Sorry, I got distracted right now. I didn't hear. Repeat again, Pascual. Talk a little bit with confidence. Don't think that your answer is wrong because you're on the right track. Repeat what you said.
You will write the same thing
We will write the same thing. Why will we write the same thing?
because I think it's the same problem is the same problem for the answer.
Take a look at that question, guys. Take a look at the beginning of that question. Take a look at what it has in it. In what form is it? Is it in semantic? Is it in raster form? Very good. And I see it in the chat. It's already in set builder notation. So why am I going to write it again in set builder notation? So now what does it mean for this problem?
Nothing.
It is already in set builder notation. There is nothing that I need to do for this question. The exact same thing. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody see that?
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss. Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Now, you could write it is already in set builder notation, like what I wrote here, or you can just write over the question. Whichever one you prefer. Don't leave it blank because you will not get the points. Either write it's already in set builder notation or you write the question again. All right? Don't leave it blank. Yes?
yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
Okay, good.
Yes,
You
miss.
can move on.
Yes, miss.
Now let's take a look at this one. Set A is equal to January, February, March, ending in December. So the ellipsis that happens in between March and December, it just means that, okay, everything in between March and December is just represented there. All right? So I am going to write the same beginning. Now, take a look at what is given to you in that set. January, February, March, ellipsis, December. Everything in between March and December is included. What are those? What are those elements?
Months of the
Month.
year, miss.
Very good. They are months of the year. So now there is no mathematical symbol to represent the months of the year. There's nothing, no symbol that exists mathematically to represent that. So I'm just going to have to write it in words. So I'm going to write that X is the month of the year. And there you go. That's it. And you could write it in a different way. You could say that X is the 12 months of the year. X are the months from January to December. Any way which talks about the same thing will be correct. This is just one way of writing it, right? So don't think that this is the only way. This is just one way of writing that answer. ¿Es it clear? ¿Entendemos? ¿Todos entendemos?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay. And then number 5. Now, this is in descriptive form, right? This is in semantic form. I need to write the semantic form in raster form. It says the set of all positive integers which are multiples of 10. Which are multiples of 10. I could write this in two ways. I could write everything mathematically in mathematical symbols, or I could write it in words. Right? I'm gonna show you guys both ways. So I want to do the words first, and I'm gonna do that in the chat because I don't have enough space there, and I write big, so that's not gonna give. So let's see. I'm gonna write the same beginning. A is equal to the curly brackets x colon x, and I'm gonna say that um, x is a positive integer, and then comma x is a multiple of 10. Take a look at what I put in the chat. That is one way. That way is correct. It might be a little bit of writing, but that is correct. If you want to go ahead and write it like that, you can say that set A contains the element x, such as x is a positive integer and x is a multiple of 10. That is one way of writing it, or writing it in words. It means the same thing. It's exactly what it's saying there. All right. Now, if we want to write it mathematically in symbols, I'm gonna write A because I'm using A, right? You don't have to use A. You want to use another letter? Use another letter. It's up to you. Curly brackets, x colon x, always the same beginning. It says that it is a positive integer. Positive integer. So now x has to be bigger than 0 for it to be positive. X has to be an integer. So I'm going to write that x is an integer. But x is also a multiple of 10. So I'm going to write that x is equal to a multiple of 10. So 10 to the power. Right? Everybody understands? Everybody understood what I wrote there? Do you want me to explain again, piece by piece?
Means you could please explain it for me again?
Okay. It's not finished. Don't think that that's finished. It's not finished yet. So what I have here is that, let me use my A. I'm giving this the name A, right? You could use another letter. This is the beginning that we always use. But here in the question, it says that it is a positive integer. For it to be positive, it has to be bigger than 0. So then that's the first thing that I wrote, right? If it's less than 0, it's negative. So I want it to be positive, and it has to be positive. So I wrote x has to be bigger than 0, right? But it also says that it's an integer. So I'm going to say that x is an integer. That's what I have there. Z is the symbol for integers, right? Mathematical symbols, going back and remembering that. So x is positive and x is an integer. But they are also multiples of 10. So what does multiples of 10 mean? Anybody? Okay,
Something.
let me fix this. I have a mistake there. Multiples of 10 means 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. All of those are multiples of 10, right? I see Emerson has them in the chat. Very good. So multiples of 10 means that I have 10, 10 times a number. 10 times 1 gives me 10, 10 times 2 gives me 20, 10 times 3 gives me 30, 10 times 4 gives me 40, 10 times 5 gives me 50, and so forth. All right? That is what I have there. 10 times a number. But that number, when I talk about 10 times 1, 10 times 2, 10 times 3, that 1, 2, 3, what are those numbers? Anybody? What kind of number are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Natural number.
Natural
Natural number.
numbers. So I have to say that as well. I have to say that n is a natural number. And that is how I write that in set notation for set builder. So what I have there written is one way, and what I have in the chat in words is another way, and both of them are the same thing. The symbols is a little bit more complicated because you had to say positive integer multiple of 10. You had to say those things. But when you write it in words, it's a little bit more direct because you take what the question says and you put it in there. Both of them are correct. Whichever one you want to use is correct. Any questions, guys?
Maybe.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on because I'm looking at the time and I would like to finish this with you guys. So now the second part says students will list the elements of the following set in roster form. So this should be a little bit faster. Roster form. What is roster form? Roster form is that I have the letter, the question, and you use whatever letter you want because the question doesn't say what letter to use. So I use any letter. My curly brackets, and then the elements that go inside of this set, right? That is what roster form is. So I need to fill this set with what the sentence gives me here. The set of all positive integers, which are multiples of 3. So if I look at this, the word all means every single number, which is a positive integer and which are also multiples of 3. So multiples of 3 begin with 3. What goes after that?
6.
6, 9, 12, 15, and never ending. And you could put as many numbers as you want. I see that Isaide put it in the chat. That is correct. She has 369 and then the ellipsis. That is completely fine because we're talking about the same thing. If you want to go ahead and put more numbers like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, then the ellipsis, that's still correct as well. Any questions with this one?
No, miss. No, miss.
Okay, good.
No, miss.
Let's move on then. The set of all the whole numbers less than 10. So I can give this a letter. You can use a different letter, right? The set of all the whole numbers that are less than 10. So what is the first whole number?
0.
One.
Zero. Zero. Very good. Zero. And then I'm going to list all of them until I get to the number before 10, right? Because it says less than 10. So that does not include 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then comes 10. So I am finished here. Yes? Okay, Ryan, very good. I see it in the chat. Very good. Can I do the other one?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
This one says set builder notation. Looking at it, you can say that it's set builder notation. But it says that set A, and it gives you the letter, so we have to use that same letter. Set A has the elements x such that x is a positive even number. A positive even number. So it has two keywords there. It has positive. Positive means numbers that are bigger than zero, and it says even numbers. So what is the first even number that is bigger than zero?
Two.
Two. Very good. Does it say that you stop somewhere?
No,
No.
miss.
So
No,
does
No.
this
miss.
mean that it continues and continues and continues?
That is infinity, miss.
Very good. It's an infinite set. So I am going to just put the ellipsis. And there you go. Finish. Yes?
Yes, miss.
Okay, this one. We already did this question, guys. We did it in the first part. Can you see the question? I think it has a mistake here. This should be equal. We already,
That is the set builder, miss.
yeah, this is set builder, but we want to list the elements now. Based on what the set builder says, I need to give the raster form. But we did this in the first part.
Yes, miss. It's the fractions.
It's the fraction ones. Very good because it has 1 over n. So this is what I'm going to write. I'm going to write the beginning, A, because it uses the letter A. What is going to be my first element if it has 1 over n?
1.
1/1.
1 over 1, which is equal to 1. So I am going to write 1. What goes after that?
1/2.
1 over 2. Very good. Then
1/3.
1 over 3, then 1 over 4, and then it continues, never ending because it doesn't say it stops somewhere. So now we put the ellipsis and then the curly parentheses. Yes?
Yes, miss.
Okay. And last question, last one for this activity. It's in set builder notation, right? So have to take a look at it very carefully. It says that x, the element x such that x is a natural number. So we have to think about the natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, continuing. But x are the numbers that are bigger than 2, bigger than 2. So let's go ahead and write what it says piece by piece. So I'm going to start with A because then that is what is given to me here. Curly brackets. I know that it is a natural number and it says that they are bigger than 2. So what is the first natural number that is bigger than 2?
3.
3. Very good. 3, 4, 5, right? We get the idea. But take a look at the second part. It says that it's bigger than 2, but it's less than or equal to 10. So what is going to be my last number in this set?
9.
9, 10. 9.
It's not going to be 9. Listen to what I said. X
10,
is
miss.
less than or equal to 10. So what is going to be my last number? Very
10.
good. Isairi, I see it in the chat. Very good, guys. It's gonna be 10 because of this symbol right here. This one. Less than or equal to 10. So I need to list the elements up to 10. And there you go. Question?
No, miss.
No, miss.
Everybody understood, guys? Did you understand?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, if you have submitted your assignments, you are still free to fix anything if you would like to do that. If you are okay with whatever you sent, that is completely fine as well. So I will be posting the recording later today, and I will also be posting the Jamboard, right? So you guys can look at the Jamboard as well. Um but that would be it for today, guys, and we finished exactly on time. So have a great rest of day. Enjoy your weekend. Send in all your assignments. Be responsible, and I will see you guys on Monday.
Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye, guys.
Bye, miss. Thank
Take
Bye.
care,
you.
miss. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, miss. Have a
Bye.
blessed weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye, miss. Have a
Bye,
blessed day
miss.
and a blessed weekend.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.
Miss Babbe en clase. Oh, no, no.
¿De qué, Yuri? ¿De English?
Se me acaba de recordar que no está el English teacher.
Ajá, no está. Eso no va a ver.
Okay, miss. Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye, Lisette.